Hello, Adam here, MidPointe Library's Digital and Special Collections Archivist. Today, I will be talking all things Sorg, covering the Sorg family, mansion, and more. We begin with the man who started it all, Paul John Sorg. Paul J. Sorg was born in 1840 in Wheeling, West Virginia, the son of German immigrants. In around 1851, the Sorg family moved to Cincinnati. In the Queen City, Paul did all he could to help his poor family, starting to work at a young age. He is able to attend night school and eventually serve as an apprentice to a molder before becoming a foreman of a shop. With the outbreak of the Civil War, Paul joined and served in the Union Army. In 1864, out of service, he entered the tobacco business with John Orr. In 1869, with $4,000 mostly borrowed, he and his several partners moved the tobacco plant to Middletown, marking the beginning of his vast business empire and wealth. It is said that John R. knew tobacco, while Sorg knew about account keeping and bookkeeping. From the tobacco business discussed in more depth later, Sorg expanded, owning, operating, or having a hand in a variety of ventures, such as the Paul A. Sorg Paper Company, the McSherry Works, which built agricultural machinery, the Miami Cycle and Manufacturing Company, the Gas Works, and the Merchants National Bank, which would eventually become the First National Bank of Middletown. In 1894, Paul was elected in a special election to the U.S. House of Representatives, serving Ohio's 3rd District. Then, in November of 1894, Paul was elected to a full term. He was just one of 2 Democrats from Ohio to get elected to the U.S. House of Representatives and one of 93 out of 346 elected nationwide that year. Sorg declined to run for a second full term. Paul died on May 28, 1902 in Middletown. Over 6,000 people came to the viewing and 2,000 came to the public service. Paul J. Sorg's wealth and generosity helped make Middletown. By the time of his death, he was a multimillionaire and one of the wealthiest men in Ohio. He is buried at Woodside Cemetery in the Sorg Mausoleum. On July 20th, 1876, Paul J. Sorg married Susan Jennie Gruver, providing Paul J. Sorg with an equal. Jennie Gruver was born in 1854 in Millville and was a daughter of David and Sarah Gruver, a pioneer Butler County family. Jennie eventually relocated to Middletown, where she worked as a receptionist at the U.S. Hotel, where she met Paul. During her life, Jennie Sorg became a force in Middletown, become the cultural center of the city. Jennie controlled the booking of entertainment for the Sorg Opera House. Additionally, she was known for hosting lavish parties that brought local elites from the area, including Dayton and Cincinnati, as well as celebrities to Middletown. Jennie died on August 25, 1930, after being struck by a car while visiting New York City. She was laid to rest alongside Paul in the Sorg Mausoleum. Paul J. and Jennie had 2 children. The first was Paul Arthur Sorg, born in 1876. The second was Ada Gruver Sorg, born in 1882. Paul A. Sorg is best known for being the president of the Sorg Paper Company and being a well-known owner and exhibitor of show horses. Paul A. died of heart disease in 1914, his only child having died 2 years earlier at 3 months old. Ada G. Sorg is best known for following in the footsteps of her mother and becoming an idol of Middletown, as well as an active socialite. Ada married Captain James Pierre Drouillard, a prominent national family, and relocated to New York. Around 1887, the Sorgs built their most recognizable addition to Middletown, the Sorg Mansion, or Sorg House as they are said to have preferred. The house is located at 206 South Main Street, though the original address was 512 South Main Street, before the street names and addresses changed in 1922. The three-story, 12-bedroom, 8-bathroom, brick and stone Romanesque castle features 12-foot ceilings and fireplaces in every bedroom. The house also contains a ballroom, formal dining room, and library. The original design was done by Samuel Hannaford and was built with imported red limestone. In 1902, an addition was designed by Pretzinger and Musselman of Dayton, Ohio. It included the addition of the turrets, which feature curved glass windows. At the roofline, there are gargoyles, which shed water from the building, a griffin perches on the north gable. The grounds originally included a carriage house of similar construction and a limestone wall topped with a wrought iron fence. After the death of Jennie Sorg, the house was sold and passed through many hands of many owners. At various points, it was used to house businesses and apartments. In 2013, Mark and Tracy Barnett purchased the mansion and began renovations. In 2018, the home was partially open for viewing during the South Main Historic District's candlelight tour of homes. Next on the list is the Sorg Opera House, also known as the Sorg Theater, which is nestled inside the commercial building. The commercial building, home to other businesses, is presently located at 63 South Main Street. The address of 57 South Main is sometimes also associated with the Sorg, and 331 South Main Street was the original address for the building. The Sorg Opera House opened on September 12, 1891 with the comic opera Little Tycoon. At the time, it only had 2 balconies. The third balcony was eventually added to separate and segregate non-white patrons. The Sorg served as a leading entertainment and social outlet for Middletown. It would bring in many acts and bring in many a celebrity to Middletown. Most popular for live acts was vaudeville acts, which were eventually disbanded in the 1930s and replaced by talking pictures, which had become the norm. In 1947, the theater underwent a major remodel and was renamed the Colonial Theater. In 1984, the Colonial Theater closed and the theater went out of use. In 2017, the theater was restored and reopened as the Sorg Opera House by the Sorg Renovation Group. In 1877, Paul J. Sorg, along with John R., formed the P. J. Sorg Tobacco Company after having sold their interest in the tobacco company that originally brought them to Middletown. The company operated out of what was then a single 3-story building located on what was then the corner of First Street and Charles Street. In 1898, the company was sold to the American Tobacco Company and operated as the P. J. Sorg branch of the American Tobacco Company. The primary output of the factory during this time was plug tobacco and Polar Bear cigarettes, a popular tobacco brand originally produced in Cincinnati. In 1912, due to trust busting, the branch joined the P. Drouillard Tobacco Company. Over the years, the factory grew to cover from north to south the block of First Street, present-day Manchester Avenue, to 3rd Street, present-day Central Avenue, and from west to east, Grimes Street, present-day North Grimes Street, and Charles Street. In 1951, the plant was closed. From 1952 to 1958, the factory is used by the Ronca Manufacturing Corporation before being torn down by the end of 1958. An Albert supermarket was put in its place. And finally, the Sorg Paper Company began in 1899 when Paul J. Sorg purchased the Jacoby Paper Mill Company. Paul J. Sorg changed the name of the company to the Paul A. Sorg Paper Company, naming it after and appointing his son as president. In 1917, the company purchased the Middletown Mill of United States Playing Card Company, which was previously the W.B. Oglesby Paper Company. The Oglesby Mill had previously been the J.W. Irwin Mill, the first mill in Middletown dating back to 1852. In 1931, the Paul A. Sorg Paper Company combined with its subsidiaries, the Frank Smith Paper Company, the W. B. Oglesby Paper Company, and the Paul A. Sorg Realty Company to form the Sorg Paper Company. In 1938, the Sorg Paper Company became a subsidiary of Mosinee Paper Corporation of Wisconsin. In 1997, the Mosinee Paper Company merged with the Wausau Papers to become Wausau Mosinee Paper Corporation. The Middletown plants eventually became the Wausau Paper Company. During the 1990s, 2 of the old mills were shut down. In 2000, the main plant was closed, and in 2010, it was torn down. As of 2018, Wausau, now known as Essity, still operates a mill in Middletown. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for coming, and see you next time.